Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm filming episode 6 of the Lunar Knits podcast, and I am coming to you from gloomy Columbus, Ohio. It's very gloomy lately, so I think spring has finally started, and actually I believe today was the first day of spring, so yeah, happy spring. So it's been a few weeks since I last podcasted. A lot has happened since then. The biggest thing, as you can see, is I have a different background, and that is because we moved apartments. We are still in Columbus, Ohio, but we moved from southern Columbus up to central Columbus, so it's really been awesome so far. I'm so much closer to all of my clients. If you guys don't know, I'm a dog walker, so it's really nice to be close to everyone and not have to drive like 25 minutes to get to them. It's really cut down on commute time and really upped my knitting time, which I love. And I've just been extremely busy working on knitting and getting unpacked and getting ready for the Makers Retreat that's happening this weekend. So if you guys aren't familiar, my friend Sierra from Sierra's Crafty Creations is hosting a Makers Retreat in Michigan this weekend. And she kindly invited me along, and I'm very thankful and so excited to go and meet everyone. So I believe there's 35 ladies going to be at the retreat this weekend, and we are going to be all staying in the same Airbnb and just hanging out, knitting, playing games, whatever happens to happen this weekend, who knows. And we're gonna take a trip to the local yarn shop, and then we're gonna get some dinner. And then she also has some workshops planned for us. So Tony from TL Yarn Crafts is going to be teaching a workshop on Instagram, about Instagram, I should say. And then Melissa from Woods and Wool is going to be doing a workshop on photography, which I'm very excited about because I'm not a very good photographer. It's not my favorite thing to do. So it'll be nice to learn some tips. And then there is a crochet hook making class. So there's going to be 2 ladies teaching their skills about how to make a crochet hook with polymer clay, and I think we're going to be painting them, so that should be a lot of fun. I attempted to do that myself about a year ago, and I had a lot of fun with it, so I think this will be really fun. I've said that 100 times. Okay. And then I also believe there's a yarn dyeing class, which I am so excited for. It's going to be so much fun to see somebody else's point of view on how to dye yarn, and then I can bring it home and apply it toward my yarn dyeing and even create more videos for you guys. So I'm very, very excited for that one. And I'm just really happy to be going and to be meeting so many people from the internet and just hanging out with some friends and making some new friends. So it's gonna be a great time. I'm getting a little bit nervous because I am definitely an introvert, and I'm gonna be staying about 5 hours away from home with people I don't really know, but it should be fun. I can't wait. I'm nervous. It's gonna be great. All right, let's move right along. I also just want to say thank you so much for subscribing to my channel if you're new here or if you've been around for a while. I think we just hit like 3.2 thousand followers or subscribers on YouTube, and that's awesome. Like, I'm so happy that you guys are loving the podcast. I've been getting so many messages on Instagram and comments of people saying that they love the podcast, they can't wait for the next episode, and they've been enjoying all my tutorials and everything that I have on my channel. I really hope to be upping my video production in the next few months. I've just been trying to get on a set schedule since our move, and I think we're getting there slowly. So thanks for joining the Lunar Knits family if you're new here, and I hope you enjoy this episode as well. I just want to say we're very inclusive here on the Lunar Knits podcast or in the Lunar Knits brand. I love everyone. I don't care what your background is, what your skin color is, what your sexuality is. I am a very loving and accepting person, so if you feel like you don't fit in somewhere, you definitely fit in here. And I just want to say thank you so much for watching, and you are very much accepted here and very much loved, trust me. So I am going to go ahead and talk about a couple of finished objects here. You can see a couple in the frame right now. I'm going to go ahead and start with this one here. So I finally finished this blanket. I started it last April, so almost a full year ago, and I finished the entire blanket except for the very bottom border, and then I needed to pick up the side borders and knit those. So I think it was a total of like 10 rows or something like that I needed to do, and I just didn't do it, and I put it in a basket for a year, and I finally decided it was time to finish it because we moved and I wanted to move some things around, and the only way it would work out is if I finish this blanket. So I pulled it back out, and I think I finished it in like 2 hours, if that. I had to weave in all the ends as well, but I'm so happy that it's finished. It goes so nicely on my favorite chair, and I'm very happy with the way it turned out. So this is the Mexican blanket pattern from Two of Wands. If you guys aren't familiar with her, you should really check out her like Instagram or website or whatever. She has tons of really trendy and just like hip and now patterns. She does a lot of crochet and knitting patterns, so there's something for everyone there. And this one just really caught my eye whenever I saw it, and I instantly wanted to cast it on. So it uses Lion Brand's Thick and Quick and a 10 millimeter knitting needle, I believe. With this pattern, I actually had all of this yarn in my stash already, so I didn't have to go and buy any, which was super nice. It allowed me to use up some stash yarn, which we always love. I really like the color combination and how it turned out. I was a little skeptical because it's pretty bold, honestly, the yellow and the turquoise, but I'm really happy with the neutrals breaking it up. I think it turned out really good. And then as you can see, the pattern section here, it doesn't look the greatest. This was my first time doing mosaic knitting instead of stranded color work. Since you're working this flat, stranded color work would be a pain in the butt on the purl sides. So the pattern calls for mosaic knitting, and I wasn't very familiar with that, so you can see some of my stitches are tighter than others, but it doesn't really bother me. It's more for like aesthetic purposes, and it's gonna be a really nice warm blanket if somebody ever uses it, but it's mostly just gonna sit in this chair, to be honest with you, and I'm okay with that, to be perfectly transparent. But overall, it was a great pattern. I recommend it to everyone. I actually made a baby blanket version of this last year as well for a friend, and she really loved it. So it's super easy to modify for a smaller size or whatever you're looking for. It's a really well written pattern. It's got a chart, it's got written instructions, so depending on how you like to read patterns, it's gonna have something for you in there, I promise. It was a really quick knit part that I finished. I think I finished it in 2 days. It was so fast. I finished all of the blanket except for 3 borders in 2 days, and then I put it away for a year and didn't finish it until then. But you can definitely finish this blanket over a weekend. It's so easy, so fast. It's chunky yarn, big needles, so no problem about that at all. And I think that's really all I have to say about this pattern or this blanket. I'm so happy to have it done. It was kind of like one of those things that was just like eating away at me. Like I would see it sitting in a basket and be like, I know that's almost done. I know I could finish it, but I just don't want to. And that's okay sometimes, but then you really need to just bite the bullet and finish it. So I did. And now let's move on. Okay, so the next thing that you can see is my no frill sweater that I finished. I think I talked about this like the past 2 podcast episodes, and we finally have a finished sweater, ladies and gentlemen. I am obsessed with the way it turned out. It's got a really nice wide neck, so it's so comfortable to wear. It also has short rows in the back, so it raises the neckline and it fits really comfortably. And then this is the first time I've ever done a very fitted sleeve, and it turned out perfect. I was so worried that it was gonna be really tight just based on my gauge or something, but it really worked out for me. And so I have it cuffed up right now, but the sleeves go about that long, which for me is perfect. And since it is fitted, it does have a bit of a seam, but I really like the way it looks. It's very clean and sophisticated and just looks really nice. So I'm actually gonna unroll this sleeve because there we go. So if you're not familiar with the no frill sweater, it is by Petite Knits, and it's just a basic raglan sweater. It's held together with like a fingering weight yarn and a mohair. At least I think that's what I used, a fingering weight yarn and mohair. The mohair was by Knox Yarn. I think it was called Dreamscapes. And then the main color that I used was by Hedgehog Fibers, and it was in the colorway Salty Tails, I believe. I got it from my fiber share partner last year, So I had it in my stash for a while, and I really liked it, and I'm so happy that it went so well with that mohair, because the sweater is like so wearable, and in fact I've worn it like 3 or 4 times out already, and I'm going to be taking it with me this weekend to the Maker's Retreat. I am going to stand up to show you. Mine is cropped a little bit more than the pattern suggests, and that's just because I didn't have enough yarn to go any further. So what I did was I used one skein for the top part, and then I started alternating a little bit in the middle section. So I saved some of the first ball that I used at the top for the sleeve sections, and then I waited on the body. I put it on some waste yarn, and then I went ahead and worked on the sleeves because I knew I wasn't gonna have enough yarn. So I wanted to make sure that the sleeves were good before I finished the body, because I knew if it was cropped I would be okay with that. So I took the yarn that I had from the top part of the sweater and I broke it in half. I think I had like 30 grams left or something, so I made like 15 grams each. And then I started alternating with the second ball that I was using for the bottom. I started alternating between the first and the second skein until I ran out of the first skein. And then I just went into the second skein all the way. And then I repeated the same process on the other side. I hope that makes sense to you guys. I'm not really sure if it's coming across the way I need it to. But then after I did that, I just went and finished the body as long as I could. I know my ribbing at the bottom isn't as long as the pattern suggests, because I decided to go ahead and knit as much stockinette as I could. And then I just went ahead and added some ribbing with as much as my yarn allowed me to. So overall, it turned out really well size-wise for me. I'm 5'1", so I'm pretty short and I can get away with something being a little shorter. So I wasn't really worried about it. I did have a little mini freak out at first, and then I was like, it's gonna be fine. And then I blocked everything and it came together perfectly. I couldn't have asked for a better sweater. It's not itchy at all. I was really worried about the mohair, but I haven't had a single issue with it. Like, seriously, you guys, don't be afraid of mohair. If you're sensitive to wool, it's probably not the best. I'm a little sensitive to it, but I'm not having an issue with this sweater at all. Like I said, I've worn it out a couple times. I wore it to a knit night, and then I wore it bowling with my husband, and then I just wore it out and about on the town while I was running errands one day. So I'm very pleased with it. It's warm, it looks great, it feels great, and the combination of the mohair and the yarn makes such a beautiful fabric. And I think that's all of that. I think that is all that I have to say about this pattern. It's a very simple raglan. It's, again, no frills, so as you can see, very basic. Love it so much, and you'll probably see it a lot more throughout my videos or my Instagram, because I'm gonna live in this all next year, I'm pretty sure. But let's move on to our works in progress. Oh, just kidding. I have one more finished object that I want to show you guys. So my friend Morgan from More Thunder on Instagram, she's a designer. She does a lot of really cool hat patterns. I'm sure that you guys have seen them somewhere. She's got like the coolest color combinations, the coolest patterns. Just love it so much. Well, she posted a picture of a cute peplum tank top, and then she kind of teased it, and I was like, I need that so bad. And then she did a pattern tester call, and I was like, girl, I need to test this. So luckily she picked me and asked me to knit the size medium for her, and so I did, and here we are. I think I had like 5 days to knit this, which was no problem. It's a tank top, so easy. Worsted weight yarn is what her pattern called for. I use DK, but we'll go over that in a second. So here is the top. I believe this is the front. It is the cutest peplum top ever. I'm sure you guys have seen the thumbnail. I know that this is gonna be in the thumbnail, so that's what it looks like on. If you saw that picture, you can find it on my Instagram. It's adorable. So this top was knit with Autumn and Indigo's yarn. If you guys watched one of my first or second podcasts, you would have seen that I made an Audrey top by Born and Raised Knits. Well, that top didn't fit that great on me. I think I need to knit a different size or something. But my husband was so kind and he helped me rip that out because if you guys know that pattern, it's held together, double-stranded, like a DK and a fingering weight yarn. So he helped me for 2 hours, rip that project out so I can knit this one because I needed 600 yards for this pattern. And I think a skein of DK is like between 200 and 300 yards. So I needed multiple balls, and I didn't have a solid color or anything, so I just decided to do the same fade that I did on that top. So it starts up here with this nice berry color that has some speckles in it, and then it fades into this very pretty variegated like watercolory color, and then it fades again into this lighter color, which is at the bottom. This is all faded between the lighter and the middle color, this whole section, because I wanted it to look more uniform, because whenever I knit this top part, this is knit flat with less stitches, so the colors were very compacted. But when I got to this part, there's more stitches, so it was starting to look lighter instantly because the stitches are more, or the colors are more spread out. So I really wanted to fade in the lighter color really well, so it kind of resembled, I don't know, I'm just rambling now. Okay, anyways, this is so soft. This is probably like the softest garment I've made. Like, I blocked it and it just bloomed beautifully. Pre-blocking, I was super worried if it was gonna fit or not. Post-blocking, it fits perfect. So, like I said, I faded it. It doesn't have instructions for that in the pattern or anything. She just knits it with a solid color. And the great thing about Morgan is she does all her patterns with like very accessible, cheap yarns. So, not cheap, but affordable yarns. So anything you can find at Joann's or Michael's, that's what she uses, and I think that's awesome. You do not have to use any dyed yarn for this. I just had it in my stash, and I really wanted to make it with this top, so that's that. Now, in her pattern, she gives you instructions on how to make it a hem that's not gonna roll up. This hem doesn't roll up because I blocked it to stay down, but if yours is rolling, she gives you instructions on how to achieve an unrolled hem. And let's see, it's really simple, definitely a very beginner-friendly project in my opinion. Basically, you just knit 2 panels in the front, seam them together, and then you pick up stitches for this skirt of the shirt. So it's perfect. I really don't have too much to say about it. The pattern's so easy to follow. It's a really nice design pattern. I think I made my skirt a little bit shorter. Like I said, I'm only 5'1", so I didn't want it like all the way down past my butt because this is a more summer top in my opinion. So I wanted to be able to wear like high-waisted shorts or high-waisted jeans with it and just have it look really cute and cut exactly where I want it to. So when this pattern comes out, I think it's gonna come out very soon. Probably by the time this podcast is up, it's already out. Definitely go grab it and knit yourself one of the cutest summer tops ever. It's adorable. All right, moving right along to my works in progresses. I'm sorry I'm kind of like talking so fast. I don't have a lot of time to film today, but I want to definitely get this out for you guys as soon as I can because like I said, I'm leaving this weekend and I've been putting this off and I want to film another podcast. So I started making socks. Thought I would never make socks. I tried to make socks, didn't go well, never wanted to make them again, but then everybody on their podcast kept talking about their socks and 12-inch circulars are the way to do it. So I grabbed some 12-inch circulars from my local yarn shop and I decided to tackle a pair of socks again. And I had my eye on Emily from the Blue Mouse's Glimmer socks since she came out with them. I thought they were so cute, so simple. So I'm trying to make those. It's going well. The 12-inch Chiagu circulars are amazing. They are definitely a game changer if you don't like magic loop, if you don't like double pointed needles, and you found the 9-inch circulars really hard to work with. The extra inches that you get with the 12-inch definitely make all of the difference. So I highly recommend these needles. This is a 2.25 millimeter, I believe. And then I'm using Lane and Lotus's yarn. I've talked about this several times. I made my swag with it. I just have a lot left over that I'm trying to use up. And I really wanted to make a plain colored pair of socks because I didn't want the speckles to take away from the ribbing at all because I like the ribbing, and then I thought they would look very vintagey and just really cute. And then I have the tiniest little tassel as a little stitch marker there. So the Glimmer Socks pattern is a basic ribbed. It has rib all in the cuff, and then down the front of the sock is ribbing, and then the bottom is just stockinette after you turn the heel. I think I have a few more inches to go before I turn the heel. I'm kind of nervous to turn the heel, but I'm very excited to, because I know when I turn the heel, I'm going to be pumped about this project. Right now, I hate it because I hate ribbing, but I'm going to be pumped about it. I think I cast it on 64 stitches. Have no idea if that's a good sign or a good amount because never made socks before. I have really small feet. We're talking like a size 6 US foot, so really small. But I heard a lot of people in their podcast talk about doing 64 inches, especially when they do ribbing, or 64 stitches, especially when they do ribbing. So I decided that that was what I was gonna go with, and that's what we have so far. That is living in this gorgeous yarn bowl that I got from Michael's. I think it ended up being like $8 with a coupon that I had. And it's so pretty. I had no idea that Michael's sold yarn bowls. And my husband was like, you need a yarn bowl after we frogged all of that yarn the other day. He took me to Michael's and helped me pick out this yarn bowl. So that was so sweet of him. And he was so right. And I use it every single day now. I absolutely love it. It's just this really nice wooden color, like wooden, it's actually wood, I'm pretty sure. And then it has this beautiful like mother of pearl or whatnot here. I really like it. All of them were a little bit different, so I had a hard time picking, so I'm glad I had somebody help me choose. My husband chose like a darker wood one, and I think it goes really nice with our decor in the apartment, so I kind of like having it sit on my table. So I guess that's kind of my stash acquisitions as well, my yarn bowl and my new knitting needles. But that is one of the things I've been working on. I'm definitely excited to take these with me. I think they'll be super good to travel with. I am driving, so I don't get to knit while I drive, but I have plenty of time this weekend to knit all that I want. So I might try to whip up a little tiny project bag, but my sewing machine is currently out of commission. It's broken. Don't know what's wrong with it. Hopefully I can figure it out because I really want to sew some more, want to make some more project bags and poop, but oh well, we're sock knitting, so that's awesome. All right, guys, and last but not least, living in this beautiful project bag that I've showed you so many times already, I have started the Weekender sweater by Andrea Mowry. Definitely jumped on a bandwagon here with this pattern. Everybody's been making it, and I was a bit skeptical at first because it's a bottom-up sweater, and that's how I used to knit all of my garments, but I'm kind of obsessed with top-down garments now. So I was like, I don't know if I want to go back to that, but I had this yarn burning a hole in my stash, so I decided to go for it. I just so happened to have 5 skeins of Hello Stella's worsted in the colorway Bohemia, which is like her staple color, like her most gorgeous color that she's ever made. And I bought it in a kit last year to make the Bohemia cardigan by Mason Dean. They did a little collaboration, and this is what one of the panels looks like. And I do still love this pattern, but I decided that it's not really something I would wear because it's an open, like short sleeve kimono style cardigan. And I don't like wearing just like tank tops, like just a plain tank top. And I feel like that's what you would have to wear with this. So although it would be great for the springtime and probably into summer, it's really busy and I don't wear like a whole lot of white. So I just didn't know how I would style it. So I decided to frog it and turn it into something that I would enjoy. And that project turned out to be the Weekender. And it's gonna look a hot mess right now, because it is. But there's a lot of ends to weave in because I'm alternating skeins and then there's a split hem. But we have some progress going on here. I don't know how I'm gonna show this to you guys. It's a bit crazy. So I am gonna start by saying that I am using 5mm knitting needles, I believe. The pattern calls for 5.5. I didn't swatch, but I read a lot of people saying that theirs was looking potato sacky and they were worried about that, and I didn't want that to happen for me because I am very petite, so I didn't want to look like I was being eaten by this very beautiful garment. So I just went down a needle size. I don't think it's going to affect it too much, especially whenever I block this because it is super wash, but here we are. This is worked in reverse stockinette, so you just basically knit it inside out, and you get a faux seam here created by slip stitching. So it's very simple, very cute, and I just saw everybody talking about it in their podcast, and it just seemed like it was a very wearable piece. Now obviously my yarn choice, not the most wearable, but if you know me, I wear a lot of color. I'm not afraid to wear something bold like this, so I'm really excited because I love this yarn so much. So this pattern has a split hem here, so you knit the front and the back and then you connect them, which is really nice. It's not nice to knit, but it's gonna look really nice on my body, so that's important. Now this pattern does call for a provisional cast on, I think that's what it's called, but I could not figure it out. I've done it one time and then I tried to use a different technique and it didn't work well for me. So I did a regular long tail cast on because I was frustrated and lazy, but I think it's fine. It's not gonna bother me because literally everything I make has a long tail cast on, so it's just gonna be normal for me. Eventually I will branch out and try a different cast on hopefully, but this project was not the one for that. So this is what it looks like with the knit side out if you're curious. But it is to be worn with this side out. And I am using a stitch marker here. Don't know what it's here for because I haven't worked on this for a hot minute, but it's here, and it is by Aunt Kay's Handmaids. It's a very tiny piece of strawberry cake. She sent this to me whenever I had my 10K giveaway over on Instagram. I thought it was really sweet. She sent me another one as well that I used for another project, so I don't know where it's at right now, but I love that. So that is my weekender. I don't have too much else to say about it right now because I'm just on Body Island. I have a lot of stockinette to go. This is my first time making a worsted weight sweater, and I think it's going okay. I like it. It's a big change. I think I do prefer fingering weight sweaters. I'm not having the most joy working on this, to be honest with you. I think I'm really into just smaller weights right now. This is kind of making me a little bit paranoid because my stitches aren't perfect because I am frogging something, so the yarn kind of looks like ramen noodle right now. So it's kind of making my stitches look wonky, but I know it will block out, so I need to keep that in my brain, and I just need to keep moving. I think I am going to be taking this with me this weekend. Hopefully I'll work on it. I really want to get it finished, but like I said, I'm not enjoying it that much, so it has nothing to do with the pattern, nothing to do with the yarn. It's just not what I'm enjoying right now, and hopefully I won't want to frog it, and I will finally get to use that yarn to create something beautiful as it was intended. All right, you guys, so I think I sped through that relatively well. I hope I made sense in all of this. I know I'm gonna have a lot of editing to do, so sorry if you hate edited podcast. That's just what happens sometimes when your mind is all over the place because you have a lot going on. But I did want to get this out for you guys so you could enjoy it and see what I'm working on, and then I can't wait to come back to you with our next episode because I'll be talking about the Makers Retreat. I'll be showing you all of my goodies, and I just can't wait to tell you how many friends I made and how much fun it was, so maybe you can think about joining the next one. So if you guys like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel so you can get notified when all of my podcasts come out and all my other videos come out, and leave a comment down below if you have any questions or suggestions or you just want to chat. I'll see you guys later, and thanks for watching. Bye!